Women Who Own It podcast spotlights women business owners who are pioneers in their field, setting trends, blazing trails, and creating game-changing innovations. Brought to you by WBENC, the largest certifier of women-owned businesses in the U.S. and a leading advocate for women business owners and entrepreneurs. And me, Allison Maslin. I've been a business owner for the last 35 years. I'm the Wall Street Journal best-selling author of the book Scale or Fail. So join our bold community of women who built it, grew it, and own it. I'll see you on the show. Welcome to Women Who Own It podcast, brought to you by WBENC. That is the largest certifier of women-owned businesses. And my name is Allison Maslin. I am your host. I am the founder of Pinnacle Global Network, where we mentor business owners to grow and scale their business. And Women Who Own It is brought to you by women business leaders for women business leaders. And it is such a joy for me because I get to highlight all these superstar businesswomen. And for those of you listening, you get to glean all of the wisdom that they have to share. And today we have an incredible powerhouse, amazing women business owner. And so let me go ahead and introduce her. She is a marketing and branding maven and lifelong cheerleader of women and entrepreneurs. Jessica Baker discovered a passion for hard work, teamwork, and cheering on others on the sidelines. Her passion for cheerleading soon became a passion for coaching, then a passion for marketing and branding in the industry that taught her so much. Jessica built and led a team to create innovative and original video content, building a subscription-based and media channel powerhouse. The two cheer channels Jessica led at Flow Sports topped the company's leaderboard in channel and social media performance. Jessica quickly advanced to senior partner success manager, leaving other partner relationships and platform launches, including the Professional Bowlers Association. Her next breakthrough materialized as Glass Staircase, and I love the name, which is a marketing brand and creative agency with years of working in the corporate and fast-paced event industry, helped Jessica hone in on women and their missions and other entrepreneurs looking to scale, grow, and move at a rapid pace, which was what we're all about. So helping others find their voice and power, break glass ceilings, and make big things happen has become not just her work, but her life's pursuit. So let's welcome Jessica Baker. Hi, Jessica.
Hi. Hello,
so
hello.
Excited to have you here on Women Who Own It.
So thrilled to be here, and what an intro. Thanks.
Yeah, I know that was definitely a mouthful. You've had quite the journey. And so I want to kind of pull that apart because I know that we have so much that we can learn from you today here. And so how is your background in cheerleading? And we were talking about that before because I was a cheerleader in high school too. And remember those days as a lot of fun, but it was a great team sport. So how did that shape you from a professional standpoint?
I would say in every way, from the sidelines and from the competition mat, you've got the school side and the all-star competitive side. I would say all of my success, confidence, and passion came from cheerleading. I'd say it almost taught me more than what I learned in school. I mean, you learn leadership, you learn teamwork, you learn accountability, you learn about yourself, you learn how to tap into other people's skills and how to kind of rally that. I mean, I would say that was one of the kind of biggest pushes for me to learn what passion was and kind of how to discover my purpose. So I would most definitely say cheerleading has kind of paved my path to this point. So there's a lot to unpack there, but
it really is. And I was a cheerleader only 1 year in high school, but when I look back, honestly, I hadn't thought of it because I was a gymnast, and those things from gymnastics really helped me. But it's so true, right? I mean, you really have to be accountable. You have to show up. You have to trust one another. I mean, all of those things that are kind of critical when you're running your own business.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all of it, everything I have learned has absolutely translated into my business, from rallying other creatives to leading projects to kind of getting people on the same page, or encouraging entrepreneurs, like fresh entrepreneurs, when they're down. I mean, I would say that just across the board, cheerleading, and I would say anyone in a team sport would probably say that a lot of their skills that they probably use in business or in their adult life, whether it's at home or whatever, probably came from, that experience.
So when did you realize that starting your own business was the path that you wanted to take?
I would say that was a really long journey. I had the opportunity after college to be recruited to work for the National Cheerleaders Association, and I became their content director. That's where I got plugged into social media, right when Instagram, became a thing. So I kind of got my feet wet in the corporate space in the cheerleading industry professionally. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I had a lot of female leaders that I was able to look up to, and I had no idea how lucky I was. Great communicators, collaborators. I had a lot of space to create and kind of come up with my own plan. And about 5 years down the road, I got recruited to a sports media company in Austin, which is how I ended up here, actually. And I kind of made that move and that shift over, and my experience was very different. It was team sports, a lot of male leadership, which is great. But in my experience, I came over with the experiences they were looking for. But when I got there, I kind of was met with a lot of resistance and a lot of questions, and kind of the only female in the room sometimes. And which was great until kind of it became a little bit tough to be creative and feel like I had, the freedom to come up with new ideas or to push forward in some of the areas that I wanted to. So I found myself seeking partnerships with women, and I had a lot of conversations with fresh entrepreneurs. They wanted help with branding and social media and the things that I loved to do. So I kind of got pulled away from doing some of the things I was doing in the digital media space with Flow Sports. And I found out, I think my passion is to cheer other people on, but in my own company, helping them build brands and content and learn how to use social in a meaningful and healthy way. So that's kind of how I roundabout made my way to where I am now with Glass Staircase.
Yeah, so the business was calling you,
Yeah.
is what it sounds like. And so what were some of the big picture lessons, Jessica, that you learned from working in the corporate world that took you into starting Glass Staircase?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would say the corporate world, you learn a lot about, technical skills, obviously, but I think you learn a lot about yourself. I was working 5 years with the cheerleading company, and I was loving it and I was kind of living it. And I shifted over to a new company and kind of discovered what I didn't like. And I know a lot of people sometimes find themselves there. And even when they're doing well, um, they don't see the signs of when they're not doing well enough. Like I think I used a phrase like, I felt like my sparkle was being dulled. Like I just felt like I wasn't thriving like I could be. So I think I learned a lot about myself and how to kind of recognize where your skills really make sense for you from the corporate space. I mean, obviously all the fabulous technical skills, but I mean, I think that was the most important thing I learned, was mostly about myself and how to recognize that.
So in your company, Glass Staircase, what trends are you seeing in the marketing and brand industry as we step into this new era, right, with the post-pandemic landscape?
I mean, a lot of different things. I mean, one of the things we've been talking about a lot internally is kind of the less is more strategy. Content, content. You hear it all the time, right? It is such a crazy buzzword. And it can make entrepreneurs and brands feel like they're always behind. So they kind of try to play catch up and they just create, and just put a bunch of stuff out. So I think a trend moving forward that people are starting to realize after kind of seeing the results of that kind of strategy, or getting mixed up in that rabbit hole, is that less is more. Like, listen to the community and really give them what they need when they need it, not something every single day and every single moment. So that's something we've really tried to communicate to our partners, and to kind of listen to that and kind of see how things change. Because I know content can be overwhelming for some people, especially in the past year, being online. Lots of viewership was up, but sometimes that's not always a great thing. Because now everybody's out of their house and people are like, how do we hit those viewership, goals that we had? Things change. So just listening to what people like, and paying attention and being meaningful with what we're putting out, and not putting out too much, I think is kind of an
Yeah,
interesting
I
one.
bet that so many of the listeners right now are going, oh my gosh, thank goodness, because it is overwhelming, right? And then, every 6 months there's a new platform, something that you need to be on, or you feel like you need to be on, or you're missing out. And it's endless. You literally could have 5 full-time people on your team trying to keep up with all the content that you need to create. So, well, they just need to hire you, is what they need to do. And so what do you think, for your own business, Jessica, what have been some of the steps you've taken to scale your business? We have business women that are listening, maybe some businessmen that are listening as well, and are always wanting to learn. What are steps we can take to grow our business? I am back for another scale tip from the Scale It method, and SCALE being the acronym for strategic vision, cash flow, alliance of the team, leadership, and execution, the 5 pillars that you must have to scale your business. We're going to talk about the last one today, which is execution. It's all about getting things done, and getting them done quickly, and having accountability. So as you're scaling, you want to build a team managed company, and that means we want to get you out of the weeds of your business, so you're working on the business, not in the business. And that means you need to be delegating as much as you can, become a master delegator. So I'm always asking myself, what are the 3 things that I am doing on a weekly basis that are taking up most of my time? Even things that I think I could never let go of. And my goal always is to get those 3 things off my plate. Find somebody to replace me in those tasks. Because the more that you are stepping out, you're giving room for the business to grow. So I know that can feel scary to let go of things, and we can be control freaks in our business and so forth. But you are wanting to scale your business. And so you want to be able to hand that off, and so that you can be working on, building powerful relationships for your business, or the big strategy for your next big leap. All right? So again, execution is all about getting things done, having the plan, having accountability and KPIs, but also letting go of the reins. So I hope this scale tip was helpful to you from the Scale It method, and let's get back to the Women Who Own It show.
Oh my gosh. I mean, scaling, I think, is probably what comes up in a lot of conversations for women. A lot of women don't kind of get over that, mark that they've set for themselves, because they don't know how to scale. And I've even come up against that sometimes. And I'll say that one of the biggest things, WBENC related, actually, I have 2 women who were in WBENC and have kind of encouraged me to join. They have been hugely helpful in helping me scale. They had started their own businesses before me, and they had some processes and systems in place in areas that I didn't really have a lot of experience, especially in taxes and putting a P&L together and all the hard stuff, right? So, well, for me anyway. So they really have helped me along to kind of fix that problem. They've helped me kind of automate it and given me the advice I needed. So I'd say find community with women who know how to help you, or who have kind of already set systems in place, so you can scale.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And that's what we do. We help business women, business owners scale. And that's what my book is about, Scale or Fail. And I do believe it's kind of an overused word, you know, because it really is about multiplying growth. But everybody kind of has their way, right? And I think we can all learn from one another. And I know WBENC is such a great resource for that because you have so many women doing that, and we can learn from one another and support one another.
Absolutely. And not being afraid to ask questions. A lot of people I find, I sit across the table from entrepreneurs all the time, and they're afraid to ask for help, or they don't know where to start. So I think just gaining that skill of knowing when to ask for help and how to receive that is really important.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think people feel like, actually that's a really good point, Jessica, because I think a lot of times people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. Like we're supposed to know all this, but that's why you tune into a podcast like this. That's why you get a mentor. That's why you lean on your sisters in WBENC and all of that, you know.
Yeah.
That's how would you know how to do it if someone didn't show you how to do it? So
yeah. I would say that would be a great strength of somebody, is like knowing when to kind of ask for help, and knowing when to employ those resources you have around you. Again, a thing I learned in cheerleading, you got to have a whole team to kind of put a routine together. You can't do it yourself.
yeah, it's so true. It definitely takes a village. And you're doing something as far as community that I think is so cool. You have created an internship program. And I would love to hear about that. And what advice can you give to others in starting and utilizing a program like this in their business?
Yeah, actually, this was hugely helpful in helping me scale early on when I wasn't ready to take on full-time employees. I kind of had that skill in coaching. Again, cheerleading from my background. I coached for a really long time, and I loved it. The connections you make with your athletes and the mentorship you're able to provide. I was kind of seeking that when I started my business, and I was able to kind of start an internship where I could give back to other women who were about to become young leaders. And it's really been helpful. I can teach them some of my skills, and they can kind of help with some of the work that I have with clients. And it's really been mutually beneficial. And one of my first employees that I hired full-time came from my internship program through UT. So yeah, it's been transformational for me, I'd say.
And how did you set it up? Is this something where you're getting interns from the local college? Is this something that you advertise on, Craigslist? I mean, how do you find your interns?
Luckily, we are social media experts. So,
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, all we had to do was kind of put a lead out on social. Started small and only had one intern. She brought a friend. They brought some friends. Over the pandemic, I had 10 interns who were virtual at one
Wow.
time. And it was actually really great because it felt like they really needed somebody who knew how to connect virtually, and knew how to kind of rally a team in that way. And those 10 interns were some of my favorites because we all had really good conversations. And yeah, so it's kind of just been growing itself, I guess, from word of mouth and through social media.
That could be another business for you.
Could be.
A whole internship business, but how great. What a win-win. What an amazing experience for these young adults to learn from you. And you're such a great coach. And then also for you to get their support and creativity, because honestly, they're, this definitely this generation is super creative, and they have a lot they can bring to the table.
Yeah, well, and a lot of female entrepreneurs are solo entrepreneurs, as they say, right? They start as one person, and when you bring in interns, you have a sounding board and a group of people that can bring creativity to the table. So that's another really big benefit. If you feel like you're alone, interns are super helpful.
Yeah, they are. So speaking of support, and we just kind of touched on this, but WBENC obviously is the creator of this show, Women Who Own It. And we are both certified in WBENC. How have you utilized or leveraged your WBENC certification as a support for your business?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one for me. I joined WeBank right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I've
Okay.
been doing most everything virtually, but it's really helped me get connected with other women. Two gals that are in the Next Gen program, Brooke and Rachel, they own Curate Art Group and they are incredible. They've been a huge resource for me to learn how to use WeBank. And I actually have a client where they had a diversity program that I was able to submit my certificate and they were able to get their points. And that's an ongoing relationship now. And that was a really big national client, Terminex. So isn't that an interesting one? It's been really, really fun. So yeah, so I've been able to really do a lot in a little bit of time. I'll be going into my second year. And I'm excited about, in-person events and to see that grow.
Yeah, let me just tell you, this is my 4th year certified. And if you liked it virtually, just wait until you come to one of the conferences like the national conference. Oh my gosh. There is nothing like that I've ever experienced. I flew my entire team, not my entire team, but several members of my team. And we actually had a booth at the national conference in Atlanta a couple of years ago. And it was so much fun and just so wonderful to build the relationship. So we'll look forward to that in 2022 for sure.
We'll be there.
Hopefully. Anyway, so as we kind of wrap up here on Women Who Own It, what do you feel like in your journey as a business owner, Jessica, have been like your biggest lessons? If you could think of 1 or 2 nuggets of things that you could share that you've experienced and learned along the way, what would those be?
Oh my gosh, so many things. It's hard to kind of distill it down. But I think number 1 would be chase your passion and trust your instincts. I always tell even my interns, if you do something you love to do, you will do it well and you will be successful in it. So I think that is my number 1. Just chase something you're passionate about. Yeah, maybe that is the one, if you can do it. I got my passion early on in cheerleading and was able to kind of build it into this business that I really love now. So that and do business with people that you like doing business with. So.
Oh yeah, that's a huge one. I mean, both of those are great advice. I think, especially since you're working with interns, for them to hear that from you is so important because in school, that's not what we learn. We learn, okay, what's going to make you this amount of money. And then, 10 years later, you're like, I hate this.
Yeah, I've had some real conversations about that where they've brought offers to me and they said, should I take this? And it's things they weren't interested in. And we've had to have that conversation. So
yeah, it sounds tantalizing until you wake up down the road going, oh my gosh, I feel stuck. And then the other thing, as far as work with people that you like, I think that's probably one of the toughest things, but such a great breakthrough when you realize as a business owner, you can say no. And especially as women, we want to please people. So to learn to set those boundaries and say, you know what, this person isn't the right fit and it's really okay. That's huge.
Yeah. If you love waking up and going to work every day and seeing the people who are your clients, then I'd say that that's a win. That's definitely what we strive for and where we found ourselves so far.
Yeah, well, this is great. Jessica, congratulations on all of your success. And what is your website in case anybody wants to reach out to you?
Yeah, it's glassstaircase.com and they can find us on social media at Glass Staircase on all platforms. So yeah, if you'd like to connect, we'd love to.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, listen, thank you for being on Women Who Own It. And for those of you that are listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and give us a review. We would love that. If you haven't subscribed yet to the podcast, go ahead and do that. We are on all platforms where there are podcasts. and share this with your other women business owners, and also get out there and elevate yourself because you are worth it. So until next time on Women Who Own It, we will see you soon. Bye, everybody.